Hello everyone. Let's talk tools. Of course, when I started out, I didn't have very many things, and I gradually got more and more as I went along. And and the whole thing with selling my journals is that it does allow me to invest back into my business. So, but I've definitely come along, and I've learned a lot of things over the last 4 years of doing this, and I want to kind of share that I guess information that I've learned with everybody else. You don't have to go out and immediately buy a lot of stuff. That's the biggest thing. You can start out very simply, just like I did. Have a decent pair of scissors. These ones are more for like small cuts, like fussy cutting and stuff like that. I like them because they have the spring in them. But if you don't like that, let's see. I have the Cutter Bee ones. That's what I used up until I got the Tim Holtz with the springs. So they're very, very good scissors. And available on Amazon, as well as these. These are the larger ones, because you want a larger one for cutting bigger things and maybe some fabric and stuff, although I do have specific scissors for my fabrics. You're going to need a ruler. Now, my favorite ruler happens to be this one, because I like ones that start at, if you could see there, it starts at, it's at nothing there. So you don't have that end like this other end. You have space there, but you start at nothing. And I personally like that because I feel like I can get better measurements that way. But for me, it also has the metric, because I do some things in metric. I live in Canada, so there's that. So you have to have a good ruler. This is another ruler I just recently got. It's Tim Holtz most recent one I got. I like this ruler. It also has metric on one side, which is great, and imperial. It has a rubber on the bottom, so it's not sliding easily. On one side here, there is metal in there, so that when you're using a knife, you're not cutting into the plastic, which makes a big difference. I have actually done that. Going on to knives. This is the beadative knife. I like this because I like to be able to break off easily and have a fresh blade. Every project I start with a fresh blade, so that's my advice to you. I also do traditional book blending as well, and it's really important to have a nice sharp blade but just be careful. Injuries on my thumb. I'm forever cutting pieces off myself. So that's that. The other thing most people want to have is a bone folder. This is one that I had from when I had my bookstore many, many years ago. I'm talking over 20 years ago. And it's still around, still works great, but you can get that one. I like this one because I do like the point on it. It's nice, but even better is this vinyl one. And the reason why it's better than that, especially when you're doing bookbinding, is one, it's not going to, like if you use these on your paper, you're going to get kind of a shiny effect. This you won't. I also make a lot of boxes, so this square comes in very handy for pushing things down when I'm gluing them down and using it for boxes. So that's that. I also recommend having a really good set of tweezers. These tweezers, some of the stuff is from my father-in-law. He had them in his tools, and he passed away, so I got to inherit a lot of things. But these tweezers are fine tip tweezers, and they're not that hard to find, and I find they work great. And I also have, this is really important to me, it makes a huge difference when you have light and a magnifying glass when you want to cut or do something fine, especially for stickers. For me, I have a hard time getting them. So that's that. What else do I have here? Okay, for cutting, I have got two different things for cutting my paper. I have got this one, which I used the most when I first started, and it's great because you have the cutting blade, and you can also have it so that if you buy this set, this black one, it's actually for folding. So folding the paper, scoring it so you can fold it, which is quite handy. You can keep it on there. And any, like, keep that at the top, bottom, whichever. But I like this one because it's got a nice big bed to it. But I do find, because I have to get precise cutting most of the time, that sometimes it gets a little warped. So this one I use mostly for scoring cardboard is when I'm making my covers or when I'm making my boxes, because it'll just score a mark for you like that. They'll get it pretty straight, and then I just use my blade from that point on, and that way it's scored. That's that one. That's what I use that one primarily for, and because it does dull the blade really fast, I only use it for that. The other one I have is this one, and it's got a roller blade, and they generally last longer, and this type of it's more precise because it's on a rail, so it's not going to move at all. There's no way it can move, and I like that. I also have my professional bookbinder one that's on the other side, which is big for when I'm doing books and I'm doing like notebooks, and I have to slice them down and make them all the same size. So I have that. That's those. The other tools I would recommend you get is, of course, get any kind of stapler. I mean, people like to staple things. As far as glues are concerned, I do like the Beacon brand, 3-in-1, Fabri-Tac, whatever. They all seem to be the same thing. I use that mostly for gluing things that are going to be tough to glue down or thick to glue down. And it gives you a little bit of time to really get things good. As far as fabric is concerned, I really don't use it a whole lot for fabric, because if you're not careful and you don't spread it out well and you get little lumps of it, then when you press on your fabric, it's going to stain it. So that's the glue. I like a precision glue thing. I know the bottle looks gross, but I like the precision glue. I got this art glitter glue, and I get the refills every year. I live in Canada, so I have to get my glue every fall. I order some because they will not ship when it's cold. As far as glue stick, I do like the Scotch permanent glue stick. They're inexpensive. I buy a big package of these. If you can get the bigger sticks, fine, you can do that too, but at the time that's all I could get, and I still have tons left. So like that. I also have Eileen's tacky glue. I like this bottle because it stays like that. But I always use I use the Eileen tacky glue a lot when I'm doing my doing fabric and gluing it on, because if you put it on, you spread it out nice with a nice thick brush. This is one of my brushes for gluing. It's nice and thick, and you use that, and it will spread out nice, and then your fabric will stick to that nice. I mean, other people do use Mod Podge, which I have done as well, but that is my favorite because it's a little tackier, and it kind of helps to keep things in place until it dries. Okay, so that's that. What else do I have here? I try to keep everything close to my desk. I just bought cheap brushes. Don't go out and buy expensive brushes, because if you're like me, you're going to go through them, you're going to forget paint on them, you're going to do all kinds of things. Just get the cheap brushes. Don't get the expensive ones. Dollar stores are great for that. The other thing that I like, these are the main things. I like having my heat gun. That's a good one for me. I do use it a lot, whether I'm doing drying stuff, or if I need to do embossing. That works out great. That's not a nice thing to have. What other tools? Oh, I like to have pliers and tweezers. So I have a jewelry set of tools that are great if you're doing any kind of beadwork or anything. These are great also I use them when I'm using brads to squeeze them down well without damaging them with that rubber on them. So those are good. These you can find at Michael's. And of course, some people use these ones. I started out actually using, if you're trying to be careful with your money and you're just starting out, use the makeup things that you get at the dollar store, because they do work just as well. I just like this because I do prefer using it like that than I get a mess of myself when I use the other ones. Speaking of which, blending brushes. Okay, I have a few blending brushes here. Not one of them I have bought from like Tim Holtz or anything. These are makeup brushes that I got at Dollar Tree. So those work great. I mean, you don't have to pay a lot of money to get a blending brush. These work just as fine. So I think that works great. Also, for another tool that I like for putting my my eyelets in, I do like having this one. This is the Memory Keepers, I forget what it's called. But I got that one. It is kind of hard on the hands just because it's heavy. But you can also get, in your eyelets, at Walmart. I bought this kit. And it comes with a small setting tool like this. You just need like a little hammer. I gotta take that out. That's for making the hole. And then this one is for setting it. And you just use it on your thing. And that's really, really cheap. That's, you know, start out, that's what I did. You know, you don't have to have all the big tools to start. You can quite easily do it on a budget. Because that's what I did at the beginning. Especially if you're not, you know, 100% you want to be into this business, then you don't get the most expensive things first. What else do I have that I would recommend you get? I do have quite a good variety of punches. You can do a lot of things with. Here, let's see what punches I have here. Okay, so this one is a very, very fine punch. I like that because if I want to make just a tiny hole in things, this is just your these are your standard ones. This one's a lot harder on the hands. This one's easier, but I can see with this one better to control where I'm putting the hole. Some people get these little wheel ones. They use them for their, and they're making like a stamp or tickets and they want to make a hole in between. You can use that, or they can just do an interesting effect on paper. But honestly, I have a sewing machine, so I take the thread out and I sew across where the line is for the tickets, and it rips off quite easily that way. So that works. What else do we have here that might... I also got a slot punch recently that I really like. It's different for making holes, and I'm quite enjoying that one. For cutting, you can also get this style. This one doesn't have the thing on it. You can get this style. It works great for fabric, but it also, some people also, I have seen, used it for paper. So there's that. I like this for, this is the Tiny Tacker from Tim Holtz. I like that one because it's small. And what else do I have here that I think everyone should try to have? We've talked about glues, and anyway, I think that's mainly it. But build up slowly. Don't go nuts. Look for deals. Look in Facebook Marketplace for things. You'll find stuff there. Oh yeah, my corner punch. That's another thing that I bought fairly early on because I do a lot of rounding. But I punch like this because I like to see that it's all in right. But that's the main tools that I use when I'm working on my journals. But if you have any questions or something you've got an idea that I missed, please don't be afraid to comment and let me know what you think. Okay, everyone, I hope you're having a good day. Take care of yourself. Up here, it's cold, so I'm staying in. Bye.